Hey guys, welcome to 3 and Out. You can check out the podcast below in the description. And here's what I need you to do. Make sure you subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel to stay up to date to everything we're doing here on 3 and Out and the Volume. But I want to start with quarterback play and the New York Football Jets. And it hit me tonight. Like, you really find out, and people have talked about this before, this isn't like some novel concept here, someone's value when they leave, right? We saw it last year. Tom Brady left, and we're like, God, he left an enormous hole. But I think you can look at it in a lot of industries, right? I remember a decade ago, I listened all day long to ESPN radio. I couldn't even tell you what channel or where to find ESPN radio. How do you think they've done since old Colin Cowherd left 5-6 years ago? I don't know. Slipped into irrelevancy. Hasn't gone well. And you can learn the value of someone in the private sector. Hell, you can learn the value of, a parent. You get divorced and maybe the rock of the family. You spend more time. We all know people that go back and forth between homes. One home's a little more buttoned up typically, right? Hell, you see it with substitute teachers. When the real teacher left, we all know this from grade school. It becomes a joke if the substitute doesn't know what they're doing. You're like, God, Miss Johnson's not here for the week. It's on like Donkey Kong to screw around. And Zach Wilson, last week, Mike White, didn't just look fantastic. He led the Jets to a very impressive win against a very good team. And tonight, he leads one drive, and he looks fantastic. He's got a big arm. He looks big. He just looks like a real NFL quarterback. Hell, then Josh Johnson comes in, and I know it was somewhat garbage time, even though there was a lot of time left on the clock, but they moved the ball. I've watched Zach Wilson struggle over and over and over. And then I got to thinking, I went, well, is BYU in shambles? Well, I watched the college football BCS release show. They were ranked 15th. They just scored 66 points last week against a good Virginia team. Their offense is awesome. They have not skipped a beat without him. And then I think about another quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, who's going through some ups and downs right now in the pros, just left a program that was a behemoth, a powerhouse. How's Clemson doing? They suck. Their program is in shambles. Honestly, they're lucky to be whatever they are, like 5-3. I've watched them play several wins. They easily could have lost the games I've been watching. They are not good. They lost Trevor Lawrence. And I'm thinking today, like Zach Wilson, and listen, I'm not trying to write his career in half a season, but he has been, by every metric, terrible this season. Absolutely awful. And for the Jets franchise to be anything, they have to fix him. They have to make him an impact player. Not that, it's clear. Like, that's not that's some hot take or whatever. That's just the price of admission when you draft a guy that high. I think the glaring thing, though, is when these other guys come in and the offense rolls. And then, but I just go back to BYU. It's like, well, at a smaller program, Clemson, they went from Deshaun Watson to Trevor Lawrence. Like, good programs can get hell. Justin Fields to the kid now, C.J. Stroud, who's putting up big numbers. But I watch BYU, I go, smaller program, just goes to another guy that just no problem. And then you think about Zach Wilson, he always looks and plays like it's backyard football. Like, bro, you're not playing New Mexico. This is Bill Belichick or the Buffalo Bills and Sean McDermott. You got to figure it out. And I watch Mike White, I see a guy that's just more of a seasoned pro. More of just a guy that, hey, I can take a check down. Hey, I don't have to be a hero. And listen, you go through growing pains, but this kid's got a long way to go. And I know if I'm Joe Douglas, the general manager, if I'm Robert Saleh, we got to spend every waking moment. Clearly the defense, they got a lot of things to improve, but our careers are going to be staked to this kid. And it's concerning right now. And I think you find the concerns when you see these other guys fill in for him. Hell, Josh Johnson, who's been on 700 teams, who was the number 1 pick in the AAF draft, who played once upon a time for the Sacramento Mountain Lions. I bet you can't even name what league they were in, because I know I can't. And when I was in the NFL, I scouted that. I think it was the UFL. Tyler Klutz was in it, played fullback. Andrew Sendejo, I begged Louis Riddick to sign him. He wouldn't take him to Howie. I should have been more voiceful then. That was a good find by me, even though I get no credit. But I've red flagged the whole Zach Wilson thing moving. I mean, they just signed John Beck in the middle of the season. Who's Zach Wilson? LeBron? He just gets to sign his personal quarterback coaches? The hell's going on here? And then the Colts. And they clearly have a team, when they're healthy, who could be an AFC playoff team. But they might have put themselves in the hole way too early. That loss to Tennessee last weekend was devastating. They're up 14-0. Hell, they get the ball late in overtime, and he throws the pick. Like that, if they would have won that game, and right now, they'd be over 500, and they'd have a shot. But I don't know. I feel like this season we'll look back and go, it'll be the season that could have been, what would have been, when they're 9-8 and they miss the playoffs. And I know people have DM'd me, I guess, in Indianapolis. They've talked about, should they bench Carson Wentz so they get the first-round pick? No, because you should compete to try to win 9 or 10 games. Now, are you going to lose your first-round pick because Carson's going to play the games? That was part of the deal when you signed him. And who knows, you're going to just be in the playoff mix if you're a 9-ish win team right up until the end, so you have no choice. Now, if he gets injured and he misses a couple games and you're clearly out of it, 100%. But if he just keeps playing, you got to play through it. Because he's going to be your quarterback next year. So you need him to get these reps. You need him. If you're going to make these playoffs even next year, you need him. I talked to an executive this week on the phone. There are no quarterbacks in this class. Hell, the one quarterback he mentioned, I'm not going to do it right now because he said he's kind of a sleeper. He's never heard his name mentioned. Now, he's an underclassman, but technically he'd come out. But he's not. He's like, he might be the best guy I saw, and no one's even mentioned this guy. All the other guys we talk about, Malik, whatever at Liberty, he thought it's a major project. Corral is tiny. Carson Strong, the quarterback from Nevada, I guess, got some medical red flags. He's a talented player, but there are no top 15 type quarterbacks in this draft. There just aren't. Now, that doesn't mean guys won't end up going in that spot, but Carson Wentz is going to be your guy for the next 2 years. And listen, he's flawed. He can play hero ball. He's got some injury concerns, but they ain't upgrading that. They're not. Like, one thing we've seen this year, he's a much better player when he's not in his own head than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts can't hold his jock as a quarterback. He can't. I think we all agree on that. That doesn't mean Carson's perfect. It means he's got some issues. And listen, the Eagles had to move on from, it was over. It was time for a divorce. But he's the Colts quarterback for the next couple years. And ideally, if you go, God, we might be able to keep this guy for 5 years, that enables you to do a lot of other things. So, listen, maybe I make too many excuses. Not like I'm even friend. I don't even know Chris Ballard. I've never even met the guy. But I think he's pretty good. I think Frank's solid. And they got some good core young pieces. But if they miss the playoffs, I think it'll be hard for them to shake that Tennessee game in Indy. Like that they had to have that one. And it does kind of feel like they're going to miss it by a game, and it's be like, you blew that one, especially with Henry and the foot. It's just the way the cookie crumbles some years. Thanks for watching 3 and Out. You can check out the podcast below in the description, and make sure you subscribe right now to the Volumes YouTube channel.